Hello, everyone. Lex the Great here. Welcome back to Shadows of Darkain. This is session 6. Where our party left off, we were just entering the Northwood Forest, and we ran into a heavily injured individual named Mortimer Mortimer Wilberforce. I believe that's how I pronounce his name. Mortimer Wilberforce. He's a fisherman, and he was from Riverport. He recognized us from the battle at the harbor against that evil creatures. But he was on his last leg, literally. He was crawling for dear life. We found him crawling in the forest, and he told us that he was attacked by what seems to be the same individual from the group that we dealt with back in Riverport recently. So most likely this is the leader of that group of Darkain cultists that we dealt with. So, in this episode, in this session, I will be using, as usual, the Mythic, the one-page Mythic, and possibly Tables Fables 2, Table Fables 2, along with Maze Rats if needed. But those will be up here once we need them. So, another house adjustment. I'm going to try to refrain from taking too many notes because that can slow things down. I will try to note important things only while we continue. So, and I do hope you guys like the wider real estate of the tabletop here. Now, the team, after witnessing Mortimer pass, they agreed to avenge his death by finding this leader and continuing deep within the forest to look for the camp that is supposedly within the forest. Now, is the light source from earlier that Clovis saw in the distance the camp itself? That's possible. While the team is walking through the forest, let's roll to see what happens. Because I definitely think that the risk here is going to increase at least one die. So in the last episode, I was rolling a d4 for bad news and a blue for good news. But because we're in the forest and most likely in enemy territory, I will be using a red die interchangeable with blue. I'm still using the D100 for the one-page mythic, but this is for encounters. This is for events to occur. So let's roll with the cup and see what happens as we are wandering through the forest here. And I do have the battle map ready. So, something really intense and questionable happens. I rolled doubles. Now, I was not expecting that, to be honest, but let's figure out what these doubles mean. Normally, you roll doubles if you roll it with the D100, but since I used my my TD6, let's see what this means. The action of this double, of this encounter, potentially, is distant. So something happens in the distance. 30, actually 37 is going to be healthy. Let me get a more roll on that. Oh, 100. So warm. We can feel that there is a warmth in the air from the distance. The team is walking through the forest cautiously with their eyes peeled. They're looking around, and one of the characters, let's say, who is the most ranger like? I'm going to say, I think Jules is my most ranger like character. So his senses kick off, and he fails to notice the warmth that's in the air. Clovis will roll for him. He has a +2, and that's going to be a general success. So 6, 7, 8-9 with the plus bonus. That's a high partial. He gets a strange feeling and feels the warmth in the air because it was previously it was cold. There was that incoming storm which we need to keep track of. So the current weather right now is it raining? I'm going to say 75% chance. It is raining lightly. It's light rain, and it is noon right now. So Clovis was able to feel the warmth. What about Ellis? Ellis was definitely able to feel the warmth. And the plus one will, that's 11. So Ellis stops the team in tracks. Clovis kind of looks around. He can feel something. Jules is not too sure what's going on. Red has a plus one. 6, 7, 8, 9. Red also feels it to the same degree as Clovis, but for some reason Jules does not feel it. And Jules is the most adept in survival. So for some reason, perhaps he's further back. I'm thinking it's in order. Maybe it's yeah, it's in this order. So Ellis is up front, Red is behind, Clovis is third, Jules is a little further back. Maybe he's the most cautious, but these three in the team walking through the forest for some reason picked up first. So I'm thinking that there is a heat being emitted from the distance. So what would be a fire potentially? They look ahead and do they see a bright light or a fire? Does our team see or smell smoke, perhaps? Let's say very likely. 85. They don't see smoke, but they feel a warmth. So at first they think it's fire. They're going to see, do they smell smoke? I say very likely. They don't smell smoke, just a very weak no. So they continue walking. They're keeping this noted that there is a strange warmth in the air. And as they get closer, the area gets much hotter. Now, while they're walking, there is a crow that appears over the tree line, and it makes a noise. Our team looks up, and do they see the crow? Let's do a roll for the whole team. I'll do +2 with our highest roll, which is Clovis. Yep. So that's going to be 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. So it's a standard success. The whole team sees this giant crow flying around, circling them above. And as they walk, it follows. Is this crow just a normal bird, a normal crow? I'm going to say unlikely. I think it's going to be artificial. It's not. It's definitely not a normal bird. It's not a normal crow. This crow looks really strange. When they look at it, we'll do a check for the team if they notice the bird is unusual in appearance. We rolled to see if the team can see it. Now, can they tell if it's otherworldly? Otherworldly. Let's roll. That is a 3, 4, 5. That's a fail. So they don't see the bird is out of sight. It's in the trees. They can barely see its wings, but the trees get denser as they continue walking in the forest. Suddenly, something transpires. Let's roll with advantage if something happens. So, nothing happens yet. Nothing bad, but something oddly good happens in our favor, perhaps. Let's roll for discovery meeting. Well, let's roll 2 for descriptions. 23, disagreeable, 64, natural. Okay, so the team is split on the fact if this bird that's following them is normal or if it's a creature of sorts, a perhaps magical creature that's flying overhead. And they are unsure of it. They can't tell, and they're worried that they're being tracked. So this crow, I think Clovis probably is assuming this. because he is the one who is magically. He's a magic user so far. He's the only one with a single spell slot until we level up these characters later on. So, with that in mind, Clovis tells the team to stop. Ellis, even though he's a leader, agrees. He stops, and he's going to do a check around to see if they are being watched, followed, because he just has a strange inkling that they're being followed because of that crow. Let's roll to see if he can tell. So that is a 8 plus 2, that's a 10. He spots a figure running in the distance through the tree line, through the trees in the distance. He can see a shadowy figure running around them. And they all look up to see if the crow is still there. The crow's gone. It's not up there anymore. So, we move the notes here. This is going to be an encounter. Now, as our team, and let's get them set up here, we have Ellis, we have Red, we have Clovis, and Jules. And like I said, they were kind of in this order. We have a fallen tree here. We have all these trees laid out. These look to appear cut, but I think I'm going to assume they're all fully grown trees because we can see kind of through them. Now, they are in this position of in the forest. There's a this small clearing right here. The individual running around appears, and the team is looking in opposite directions, but as they all look ahead, he appears right in the middle of the clearing. Is this the individual, the leader from the small group of Darkain cultists? I'm going to say 60% chance, or, well, likely. It is. That's a solid 8. So this is the leader. And while they're looking at him, he is no longer wearing the cloak. He is a solid, shadowy figure. Very, very slightly transparent. And he has large wings like a crow. So about 6 foot span on both sides. The wings morph back into him, and his shadowy appearance turns to a physical form. So he goes from like a corporal form to an actual physical form. And then he's back to his cloaked self. He removes his hood to reveal his same face from before, and he says to the team, "It appears you have found me. Come to die in the name of Darkain." So Ellis takes one step with his foot on top of the log, the fallen tree, and he says, what would he say here? I think he would ask, "Who are you? Explain yourself." Does the leader explain who he is? I'm going to say unlikely. Oh, wow, unlikely. Well, that's actually a general yes. He does explain himself, or he does at least introduce his name. So let's roll for action and description. Perhaps we'll see if I use these rolls. Environment, 14. Environment colorful. So he widens his arms open, like he's about to give you a hug, and he smiles, kind of this really creepy grin, and he says, "I am whatever the Maze Rats book calls me." What would be a good name for this guy? So let's introduce a new NPC. This is definitely a villain. So NPC. His name should be. We have wilderness NPCs. Oh no, those are types of NPCs. Let's say Sallow. These names are really like lower class names. They really do have a villainous sounding to them. I am. Let's just roll for it. I'm deciding too much on it. I'll just roll for it. 1, 2. Crumpling. No, definitely not crumpling. Coffin. Gimbal. Gimbal. Like a tripod gimbal. Okay, gimbal. Oh, you know what? Here's how this one. I am Lore. Just like that. His name is Lore. So, Lore, like lore, Lore. And he says, I am the representative of Darkain himself. I have come to lay waste on your city of Riverport and bring back the domination of the Darkain, of the shadows of Darkain. So he's basically explaining before this eventual encounter that he is a selected avatar for Darkain, and he's been tasked to, for some reason, destroy Riverport. Our Ellis, the brave one he is, steps forward, jumps off the log, sword drawn, and says, "What do you want with the people of Riverport?" And he says, "It is not the people, it is the city." And that's all he says. Then he pulls out two daggers and readies for battle. So now that he has time to recover and he's back in his home territory, which is this forest, I'm going to make him a tougher character. So he is going to be a 12, a level 8, an armor 8 villain. So lore, I'll write him over here. He'll be armor 8. His health will be 12. So let's say, let's use, well, trying to figure if I should use dice, because normally I tracked it with the one die, but because he's beyond 6, I will use a red D12. Why not, you know? So there you go. That's his health. He'll be right here. He pulls two daggers out. Obviously, he is a magic user, but he appears to he wants to use he wants to do hand-to-hand combat, or he wants to do melee up close and personal. So let's roll for initiative and see who goes first. We'll use this will be a team roll. We'll use who has the fastest dexterity. Red and Jules both have the most dexterity. We'll use the cup. Okay, it looks like we go first, even with the bonus. Even without the bonus, we go first. Okay, so Ellis will jump to Darkain and attack. He will roll with. Let me get some battle music for you guys. 1 second. Okay, we got the encounter music. Same artist, same individual who made it. Um, Now it's Ellis's turn. So the thing I'm trying to figure out. Actually, I figured it out. So it has to do the quantity of 4 against 1. It's not entirely fair, but let's try out the first move. So Ellis will attack with his longsword, so it's a +1 damage bonus. Remember, we're now rolling to the Maze Rats rules. No longer just 1 damage if it hits, 2 if it's with the bonus. The actual difference is now the damage plus the bonus. So Ellis has +2 attack bonus. Okay, that is holy crap. So, okay, maybe I spoke too soon because I just completely obliterated him. Well, actually no. So it is double damage +1. So that's 12 +2. That's 14 minus 8. That's 6 damage. Because on doubles it is double damage. So that's going to be, yeah, 6. That's 7 damage. I'm thinking I'm actually going to just go back to my prior rules and walk back. I'm going to walk back what I said because that is completely one-sided fight. So he will take 2 damage plus a third, a bonus for the longsword. So he's down to 9. Where's not? There's 9. Okay, so he's down to 9. And then when we attacked him, he spawned 2 creatures to the sides. They popped up right here. Now these 2 creatures are large. Let's say they're large. Let's just roll for it. We'll figure out what they are. Monsters. We'll use the red and blue. So 6/4. They are going to be terrestrial. Tigers. Okay, they're large shadowed figured tigers. So they spawn here. They're both just 6. They're just 6 health and 6 armor. So they spawn here. And then now it's going to be Red's attack. Red has his slingshot, does standard damage. He fires it at this one. That's going to be a hit. So this guy's down to 5. Now it's going to be Clovis's turn. Clovis has a long spear, so he's still not going to use the spell yet. Clovis is going to bolt to this one and attack with his long spear. Has to beat the armor of 6. That's a miss. Then it's Jules. Jules has a long range weapon of a bow, +1, so he fires it at. Let's say he has to get in range here, or he has to get find cover. He jumps because there's these 2 trees here. He sprints. Let's say 5, 10, 15, 20. We'll do twice. 30, 25, 30, 35, 40. He goes right in front of this tree. Fires his arrow. And that's a miss. It swipes right by the creature as it parries and goes back. Now it is the leader's turn, and the leader's name was Lore. Lore attacks Ellis as he's up close and personal. But he has the roll of 4, which is going to be a miss. Our armor for Ellis is a 9. So I'm thinking, to make it difficult for our characters, I'm going to give him a 3d6 attack. So I'm going to re-roll that. He's going to be a 3d6 enemy. So we are kind of adjusting the rules here. That's 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, and that hits Ellis pretty hard. So actually that's only 2 damage. So he takes 2 damage. 7. Or now he's down to 9 with a cap of 11. Okay. Now it's the creature's turns. They run up and attack, jumps over the tree and attacks Red. These guys have a standard 2d6 attack. And that's going to be a hit, actually, I think, against Red. Yep. That's 9. That's going to be 6, 7, 8, 9. That's 1 damage against Red. Okay. So now it's next creature. He's right next to Clovis. He attacks. That's 1 damage. Okay, now it's going to be our turn. Ellis, seeing how difficult, dangerous this lore is, he's going to attack once again with his spear. Longsword. Alright, so here we go. Ooh, that's a good hit. Good rolls for Ellis today. That's 9 damage. I'm sorry, that's 9. So that's 1 damage plus the longsword, so that's 2 damage for the lore. So he's down to 7 now. And then it's going to be Red's turn. Red attacks the creature closest to him. That's going to be 4, 5. That's a miss. Next is Clovis. Clovis attacks this creature that's closer to him. Ooh, that's a good hit. 7, 8, 9. That's 1 damage. Okay, now it's Jules' turn. He's going to use his longbow. He's actually going to run up in front of this tree and help Ellis. So he's going to fire at Lore. 9 is actually a hit. That's 1 damage. Actually, with the longbow, that's 2 with the bonus. So now Lore is down to 5, and then it's his turn. So seeing that he's being outnumbered, he's going to jump back, and conjure a spell. And let's use Maze Rat to see what he does. So magic. We'll roll. So 1, 2. That's going to be a physical effect and a form, ethereal form. So the physical effect will be 3, 3. Ice. Ooh, okay. An ethereal form. 2, 2. Ice call. So he raises his hands into the air and shouts some spell. Suddenly, there is a cloud just below the tree line forming above our team. Snow flurries start to fall. And suddenly, there is a large fog approaching our characters, our team, from their feet, and it turns to solid ice. So the whole ground is frozen around this immediate area. So I'm going to say it's mostly this area here, just in front of Lore. So that will slow down our team. They can only move 1 step at a time, and perhaps their attacks will increase in difficulty to strike. So, but he is immune, so the cloud goes away, and now the ground is frozen for, let's say, 2 turns. So he will actually he uses a spell, so he can't do anything else. Now it's a creature's turn. The creatures are immune to it. This creature will run up to Jules and attack. 5, 1. That is a miss. This creature runs up to Red and attacks. That's a block. It equals his armor. Now it's our turn. Luckily, Ellis is just at the border of the ice spell, and he can attack with his spear. His sword. His longsword. That's a miss. Red will attack the creature closest to him. That is a block. Next is Clovis. Clovis will get closer to the creature that left him and attack. That is going to be a hit. Clovis is using his long spear, so that's 2 damage. So we're down to 3 now. Whoops. Okay, now it's Jules' turn. Jules takes 1 step. And I made a mistake. Clovis was not supposed to move more than 1 step, so I'll just keep moving on. I'm gonna add 1 damage back to 1 point back to the monster because of that mess up I just had. Okay, so but he moved 1 step and he's going to attack Jules was going to attack this creature too. Okay, that's a hit. With his longbow, no, I'm sorry, hunting knife, he's close range. So that's only 1 damage. Now it's back to the lore. So the ice spell is remaining for one more turn for this turn here. And now he's going to attack Ellis. Oops, wrong one. Okay. Oh, I'm sorry, 3d6, I forgot. 3d6. Ooh, okay, so that's a 6, 5. Alright, so that's going to be 1 damage for Ellis. But with the ice, I'm going to increase that to 2. So Ellis will take 2 damage. He's down to 7 now. Alright, now it's the monster turns. This one's going to attack Jules. Six, seven, eight. So that's going to be a block. This creature attacks Red. 7. That's a miss. Now it's our turn. The spell diminishes. The ground is back to normal. And our team still feels that warmth in the air, which is unusual because of the storm. It's raining. Not heavily, though. But now the winds are picking up. So any long-range attacks, which it's only Jules, will have disadvantage. So remember that. Ellis is going to attack Lore with his longsword. That's 6. That's going to be a miss. Red attacks with his spear. This creature next to him. That's a hit. Plus, nope, no bonus. He does not have a bonus. So that's 1 damage. The creature screeches in pain. Then it's Clovis's turn. He's right behind him. So I'm going to give him an advantage in attack because he's right behind him. He has 2 daggers, so we'll see if this works. The 2 of the highest rolls. 5, 6, 7, that's the first dagger. That hits 1 damage. The second dagger. 7, that's another hit. I'm breaking the rules right there, Maze Rats. Okay, so that was Clovis. Now it's Jules' turn. Jules will attack with his hunting knife at the creature that's right in front of him. 6, that's going to be a block. Now it is down to back to Lore. Lore is going to, let's see, will he attack? Let's see what he does. 50-50. Does he do an actual physical attack? He does not. He's going to step back and conjure 2 very weak almost sentinel beings around him. Like that. They are simply cannon fodder. And they step in front of him like this. They create a wall like that. Now he is going to use them to attack Ellis. So these will be 2 individual D6 attacks. They both attack at the same time, so I've kind of created my own little attack here. They attack Ellis. Okay, so 1 hits a double damage, the other one misses. So he'll take 2 damage. Ellis takes 2 damage. Ellis is getting hurt here. Okay, so he's down to 5. Next is the creature, this one here. Going to attack Jules. That's a hit. That's 1 damage at Jules. Jules finally got hurt. Okay. Next is going to be this creature who's down to the last leg. And he'll attack Clovis. That is 6, 7, 8. That's a block. Yep, that's a block. Okay, now it's our turn. Ellis, seeing the two individuals, he can run around them, but as he tries, they move in front of him like this, like a wall. So he can't exactly get by. They are blocking the way. So let's see what items he has. There's not much he can do. He can try to do a spin attack to kill them both at the same time. We'll give him that. But this will be a challenge roll. This will be a danger roll. So can he get up? If it's a partial, he'll take one out. It is a fail. He spins, they evade, but they are further back now. So that's all he can do for his turn. Now it is going to be Red's turn. Red attacks the creature next to him as usual with his dagger, so he'll get 2 rolls. 9, that's a hit, so he's gone. Okay, so that creature's out. Clovis is now up to bat. He only has a long spear and dagger, so he needs to run 20 feet. So 5, 10, 15, 20. Jumps over the log. And that's all he can do. 20 feet in my book. The rain's picking up. Now it's going to be Jules' turn. Jules strikes with his hunting knife. And that's a hit. That's 1 damage. So down to 3. Okay, now it's back to Lore. These 2 creatures attack at the same time. Ellis. Actually, they see Clovis, so they run into Clovis and attack like like dogs, like attack dogs. And they're going to roll 2. We'll roll 46, and that's a miss, and that is a miss. So they got very incredibly lucky. Okay, now it is going to be this creature. The remaining minion attacks, runs between, closer to the leader, and still attacks Jules. Jules has been his bitch this whole encounter. That's an 8. That's going to be a block. Okay. So now, I think I forgot to attack for Red. So, I'm sorry, Lore. So Lore runs up to Ellis and trying to attack him with his daggers. So we'll do 2d6. Using both daggers this time, which I forgot to do this the first time. So that's a miss. That's a miss. So we got lucky. Okay, so now we're back to us. Ellis is right in front of his face. He's going to attack him with his longsword. 6. That is a miss. Red has to get close, so 5, 10, 15, 20. That's all I can do. Next is Clovis. Clovis is going to attack the Sentinels. At least one of them. Actually, he has his dagger, so he's going to try to stab them both. So we'll do 2D. We'll do 46 rolls. I'll use one of the red die here. Okay, so these 2 are close together. Nice! So once I get hit, they both hit. So both these creatures disappear. It was, I think, the last turn anyways. Okay. Now it's Jules' turn. Jules is right here. He's going to finish off, hopefully, that one, or not finish off, kill that, strike the minion next to him. That's a miss either way. Now we're back to, Red, or Lore. So Lore has no more powers left. He is halfway. He is depleted, but he still has physical force. So he takes both his daggers, uses some type of spell, and combines the daggers together to form a longsword of his own to replicate the longsword that Ellis has. But it's solid. It's a shadowy weapon. It's a shadow weapon, so it has 2 damage when it hits. No criticals. So he will strike Ellis. That is that's a 5. That's a miss. So Ellis jumps on the way. Now it's Ellis' turn. Come on, big money. That's a miss. Let's see. Red is going to 5, 10, 15 strike Lore with his spear. That's a hit. That's 1 damage. There's no bonus for his spear. So he's down to 4 now. He's at 4. And then it's going to be Clovis's turn. Clovis is going to attack the creature. Whoops. Clovis attacks. And that's a hit. 1 damage. I'm sorry. Clovis has a long spear, so that's 2 damage. It's down to 1. The creature is starting to vanish, diminish, disappear, fading between realms as it's panting. And now it's Jules' turn. Jules will use it to finish off the creature, hopefully, with his weapon, hunting knife, and he killed it. It's out. Okay, good. So, now we gang up. Well, we can't do anything now. Now Red, or Lore, sees the diminishing chance of battle. He's going to attempt to flee, like he did last time. He says, clearly, this is not my time. And he tries to flee, so we're going to roll a morale check. We'll use his dice. We're going to go by let's say we'll give a difficulty of his level. So 8. He has to beat his own level. That is going to be 6, 7, 8. He matches it, which means, how should I interpret that? He has to beat it, I said, but he matched it. I'm going to go by D&D rules and say he does match it. So he basically becomes a crow again, but his powers are weak, so his wings aren't as big, and he tries to escape. He's starting to fly into the air, and he hits a couple trees on, so very, very terribly leaves the battle area, and clumsily bumps into a tree, and he says, "Till next time," and he's trying to, while he's in his crow form, and he lifts off and takes off and leaves the area. So once again he flees, and the encounter is over. So once again, our team fends off now the character Lore after taking some damage, but they learned quite a bit about this. We learned quite a bit about this character. We learned that, one, he is a avatar, at least I believe that's what it said, avatar of Darkain. He is he's been tasked to destroy Riverport, the city itself. So I think that's all we know. That Darkain, his name is Lore. He is an avatar, a disciple of sorts for Darkain, and his objective, he's been tasked to destroy actual Riverport. So our team rests up. Now it's getting really blistering hot for some reason, and they see that there's a fire nearby. So our characters, they see a fire, and they run towards the fire. As they run through the trees, they can hear screams. They approach a large clearing, and they see a huge, let's just say it's a pretty decently sized campsite that is burning, surrounding the entire camp itself. So They hear screaming, and they're looking around. Can they see who's screaming? Let's do a group roll. 6, 7, 8. Plus the bill. Let's do Ellis as the bonus. So that's 1. That's a 9. They just spot 3 individuals burning, or inside the fire. They're tied up against like one of the tents. They're tied up around this pole in front of one of the tents, like a wooden pole. And the fire is itching close to one of the people. We don't know who they are yet. They just through the flames, Ellis just sees the movements of people burning. Ellis screams to his team, "There's people in there. We gotta get. There's people in there. Come on!" So they circle around. They try to spot an opening. Is there an opening in the fire, or is this fire once again perfectly round? Let's say like it's surrounding the entire camp. Is there an opening? I'm going to say 50-50. There is no opening, so 50-50. That is a exceptional no. So while that's a no, let's roll what that means for us. 97. Surprise. Okay, I like that already. 84. Rough. It is okay. So they spot that the fire is. It looks like to be a perfectly dome-shaped fire that's growing to the top, and the team they can't get close to it because it's super hot. So they gotta think quick on their feet on how to get through. They are just on the side. The prisoners, the 3 captive people, are kind of near the side of the camp that's burning. And again, the fire is getting close, and I'm afraid it's almost too late. So, what does our team have? We have a torch. We have a 10-foot pole. We don't have the power pole, unfortunately. But there is... We have the perfume, which won't exactly help in this situation. There's a grappling hook. That could work. Okay, so we are in the forest. Is there anything that we can grapple hook onto that is overhanging the fire? Like a large tree is overshadowing, like this, the fire. If you guys look in the camp right here, there's a large tree branch. I'm going to say likely. 28, there is. Okay, so that means Red is going to use his grappling hook and fire it. I'm thinking like Link's grappling hook from Legend of Zelda, Ocarina of Time, so an M64 version. I haven't played anything after that since in regards to Zelda, but Link's grappling hook essentially fires it. It hits the tree. We got to do a dexterity roll. All right, come on, Red, you can do this. Okay, perfect with +2. So 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. It's a normal success. The grappling hook it sinks into the tree. Perfect. He pulls himself up. He stands on top of the tree, and now he has his chain. So there's a long chain he has. No one has any rope. So he can tie his chain off the tree. The tree's holding him. I'm going to say it's a pretty large tree. And I think that's what that surprise rough was. This is like a surprisingly rough, difficult task. So is he right above the tied up individual? I'm going to say very likely. 16. Oh, he is. That's a very strong yes. That's not exceptional, but it's on border of a very strong yes. So he ties his chain, lowers it down, and he climbs down. So this will be a dexterity roll once again. He climbs down. As the fire creeps closer, he's running out of time. Oops, wrong roll. Okay, here we go. Nice. That's a perfect. So that's an unnatural to perfect. So that's 10, 12 with the bonus 2. He jumps down. The chain just touches the ground. He sees 3 people. There's a woman and 2 children in the camp. So captives. We got a woman and 2 children. They are they can't talk. That their mouth, or I'm sorry, they can't talk. They're screaming. The mothers there was something around her mouth like a cloth. It's lowered, but her kids are struggling to breathe. So he lowers. Red quickly lowers their bandages, and they're gagged. They can't talk, so he lowers it. He removes them, the sleeves. Now, is the fire about to creep up on him? I'm going to say likely. That's ooh. Okay, so not yet. The fire is about 5 feet away, so he moves. He has to untie them. So can he do that? I'm going to say, are the knots? Are they just general knots, like rope? I'm going to say 50-50. They're not. They're not knots. They are, let's say, um, they're rusty chains because it was a very, very close yes. They're very rusty chains. So he has to use his shield and maybe break it, slamming the chain. I'm gonna do a strength roll. Okay, so it is just a barely partial success. He breaks the chain, but while doing that, it only loosens the mother and one of the children. So one child is still, uh, one of the chains is still tied up, and the fire is literally feet away. So let's see what he can do here. Thinking, um, he's going to try to use his spear. Perhaps it's tied. Oh, you know what? The pole that's in the ground. Can he kick it down? Is it a thick pole or is it just tied to the tent? Is it tied to the tent? I'm gonna say likely. It's not. It's actually like it's actually a pole of a wooden pole that's in the ground. So he's gonna try to kick it really quick. So he's using his strength in this one, and that is it's just in time. So 7. He does kick the pole down, but it doesn't come off the ground. It's slanted. So he has to take the kid, pick up the kid. The chain slides off, and the kid's free. The fire just gets to where the kid was. So now he has to have them climb up the trees before the fire gets them. And while Red is there, he's looking around just for any clues while he's still within the fire's perimeter. And does he see anything? Let's do a quick perception check, or a will, I should say. He has a +1 on this one. 5, 6, 7, 8. Okay, so he spots something unusual. He spots something within the camp. As this very hold on a second. So the fire basically is like this. Here's the camp. There's just tents. Yeah, it's not too big. There's probably like 6 or 7 tents. The fire is surrounding like this, but it's getting smaller and smaller. It was like a trap, basically. It's obviously a enchanted fire. But what does he see? Let's do 2 for descriptors. 27. Extravagant. Okay, roll that quite often. 73. Perfect. Okay, so he sees a small statue of a crow, and it's on this little pedestal in the middle of the camp. It's just a statue of a crow with its wings like sprout open like this, and maybe the beak looking up. So it kind of looks like it's looking up into the sky. And the statue itself is just sitting there. It's probably bronze, maybe bronze material, but it's colored black. So he sees that, but there's really not much you can do. I'm going to note that in that. So let's go to the next page. This is session 6 continued. Okay. Now he sees the crow statue, small, kind of like this, kind of like a phoenix, and it's on a little pedestal, like a base. It has a base on it, like that. Okay, so that could mean something in the future, so we have to remember that. So I'm gonna put a star next to that detail. But he can't get it though. So does the family climb up with no problem? I'm thinking likely. Oh, okay. Oh, they barely do. Okay, they barely manage to climb up to the tree, and then it's Jules' turn, or Red's turn, sorry. Now he has to roll to see if he can climb up. The fire is creeping up on him. 7. He does. Okay, the dexterity bonus. So 7, 8, 9. because 789. Um, he climbs up. There's one setback. He has to drop something because of that partial, but something small. He drops his um. While he climbs, he grabs onto the tree. The chain falls, so he's gonna lose his chain, and it falls into the fire. And the fire engulfs the entire camp, and everything gets burnt, and it's burning. There's fire everywhere. You can smell the ashes. So now the team is holding onto the grappling hook, which I forgot to mention that they're holding onto the grappling hook for Elliot or for Red, and they're holding it tight. The family's going to climb down slowly. So family is saved, and then eventually Red comes back down, and the woman, the mother's hugging their children, crying that they've just been saved by this stranger. And our characters watch the fire strangely become smaller and smaller, and then just turns into a cloud of smoke, and the fire dissipates, and it's just black ash everywhere. There's just a pile of ash, and the statue. Did the statue survive? I'm gonna say very unlikely. 96. Wow, the statue survived. 96, very unlikely. So this is an exceptional no, which is very interesting. I'm gonna roll on the meanings table. What does that mean? Two. So attain 59. Mundane. Okay, so I think what they attain is that the statue, they can see it, but it's burning, it's on fire. And then it just disappears. Like it fades away as the fire engulfs it. And the ash is everywhere. And all that's left is just smoke in the black ash. Or dark gray ash, whatever. So our team watch the smoke burn. Red is helping the family. Now, is the family injured? I'm going to say very likely they are. Oh, okay, 84. They're not. They seem okay. They're just kind of exhausted, tired, and scared for their lives. But they're not physically harmed, which is good. So, with that in mind, they pull them away from the campsite and ask if they're okay. So Ellis walks up to them with Red. The other two watch. We're going to talk to the family because this is actually a potential a coincidence. So we ask the mother, "Are you okay? What happened here?" And she says that they were leaving Riverport with their husband, but with a sudden attack, for an instant, something happened. They got thrown into the air, and they got separated from their husband. They were unconscious for some time, and they woke up tied to this to the pole in the camp, and they were gagged. They couldn't talk. They had a cloth tied around their mouth. So uh, Ellis asked them, "Do you remember any strange individuals, like hooded figures?" And they say, "Did they see these strange individuals?" Let's see. I'm going to say likely. Oh, they didn't. They said that's a strong no. That's an exceptional no. So let's see why. What is the description of this reasoning? 97 again. Valuable. 89. So simple, valuable. Okay, let's say simple and valuable. That does not make sense to me actually. So I'm going to change that and say that when they woke up, and she woke up first. Did she wake up first? 50-50. Yes, she did. Okay, so she woke up first. Her kids were unconscious. She's looking around. Her eyes are refocusing. She's kind of getting her senses back. and she can't talk, but she's looking around and she sees the camp. It's not on fire. It's just no one's around. She's looking, so she's telling Ellis she doesn't remember seeing anybody. She just woke up and they were in this camp. And then up like maybe 20, 30 minutes ago, or 20 or so minutes ago, um, a fire started, was sparked in certain areas. Like fire pops up surrounding the camp, so like traps went off, and then the fire grew and turned into a perfect circle and started closing in. And then that's where she says, "That's where you guys showed up to rescue us." And Ellis is thinking, let me write this down. So um, she did not see anybody, any cultists. Any cultists, just the trap, just the fire start. So when our team got close to the camp, it must have triggered a fire, or at least when the encounter started. This camp obviously belongs to Lore, so most likely he started the fire from a distance or some kind of delayed spell effect as a precaution. So what's so important about these people? That's the thing. Now, Ellis brings up, did your husband, he describes the husband, how they looked. Was your, he asked is your last name from before, obviously. And so she was married to Mortimer. So she's like, and when he asks, do you know, is your last name blah blah blah? She starts to tear up and say, yes. How do you know? And they all kind of look down, and he takes off his helmet if he's wearing one, which he is. He takes off his helmet, puts it to the side, and he says, "I'm so sorry for your loss, but he passed earlier. We found him in the forest, badly injured. We were not able to help, but he did provide us with some very helpful information on how we can save the city. Your husband's death did not go in vain. We will find the one responsible. I promise you this." And she cries, and then she tells her kids what happened. She talks to their kids, and they start to tear up. They all do this big group hug with each other, the family, and the team is just standing there, not really sure what to say or what to do. But I think the session ends right here. So for session 7, oh, that's right, we need some names. So let's do an NPC for her. So she is from Riverport. So her character name will be. So we know that the individual, the husband who passed away, his name was Mortimer Wilberforce. Mortimer. Let's change that. I'm not a fan of that last name, to be honest. Let's say Wilbur. I'm going to retcon the last name, Wilbur. So Mortimer Wilbur. He is deceased, unfortunately. Husband, fisherman, but he is deceased. And his wife, we'll call her Catherine. Woman, the wife. And she is a new NPC for this campaign. So she tells us her name and her 2 kids, but we're mainly just focused on her. Wilbur. She's not a fisherman herself, but she obviously is his wife. So she was captured for some reason. The when Laura attacked her family. Said I think they were just in the way, but for some reason he kept her alive. That could mean something, or could just be a complete coincidence. We don't know. Maybe the oh, you know what? Here's what I think. The wife was leverage. I truly think that Lore and his team of and his band of cultists were originally going into Riverport to speak to Balthazar, but our encounter and the guards they obviously turned hostile, so that it was their backup plan. I think that was leverage, it was insurance for somehow. So I think I'm writing that down. So um, her captivity was leverage for Lore against Riverport, perhaps. So maybe there was some kind of diplomatic approach to this, but obviously it did not work out that way. Now, for the next episode, our team has to return to Riverport and uh, with the family. They won't be able to go back by themselves. I think they need help going back because there could be dangers in the forest going back north. And then at this point, they have to find a way to talk to Balthazar. If that means breaking into the castle, jumping it, by whatever means, they need to talk. They want to, like, badly talk to Balthazar about what they discovered uh, regarding Lore, the avatar of Darkain. So that was everything in this episode. Um, I think this one was quite exciting. Had a few pitfalls here and there, but the encounter was great. The story development is really panning out, and it was short. It was mostly me talking and some writing with the encounter, but we definitely discovered quite a bit. The camp light situation, the light source that we saw, it's still kind of unsolved at this point. It could have been some spell or something in the distance, but I don't think, again, it's relevant right now. But I believe that we're learning quite a bit about Darkain. This, without spoiling too much, because I'm kind of thinking about what's happening here. Not the end game, but like mid story or mid narrative. That Darkain, if he's an external force in another realm, or if he's actually physically in this plane, he's using so far Lore as an avatar of his power to do all these crazy things with Proform and all that, shadowy creatures. They want Riverport for some reason. So let me write that down. For some reason, Lore slash Darkain want Riverport specifically itself. Maybe because it's land. It's there's a burial ground and deep within. That's some potential ideas. It's on top of something, or there's someone. Again, they want Riverport, not necessarily the people, but the land itself. So that is very, very intriguing, and I really did enjoy this episode. So I hope you guys did too. Again, we learned quite a lot, and that's really all I have for this one. Till next time, thank you for watching.